Good afternoon, everyone. This is the committee for persons.
Is your microphone on?
Yes. Yes, it is. That's what I was wondering. Some were louder, somewhere. I was wondering if there was a difference in Umberto. Can you hear us?
That's not Umberto, but go ahead and just go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
We're starting.
Okay, no worries. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Committee for Persons with Disabilities Advisory Committee's regular June 18th meeting. I am the chair, Dr. Carolyn Smith. I'm excited to have you all here. We do have a new face, so it's best if everybody does a quick introduction of yourself and who appointed you, and we'll go down the line, starting with Jessica.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Kramer. I was appointed by Jim Desmond, District 5. I was chosen because of my lived experience, becoming stricken with a spinal cord and brain swelling infection halfway through my life at the age of 26-ish, or whatever. That was bad math, but I experienced homelessness for the first time in my life. I experienced dependence on others for my everyday abilities, and I experienced quite a bit of abuse from the 911 system, which was misunderstanding of my disability. And I have a service animal and continue to do advocacy in the community on behalf of myself and others around these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura Hansel. I'm in seat 5, District 3, appointed by Chair Tara Lawson-Rummer. And I'm a newer member of the committee. I just joined in January. I'm a disabled member, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm Sue Madison. Been on about 1.5 years, and I'm a member at large, and I'm in District 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Carolyn Smith. I'm a 100% total and permanent combat wounded Army veteran of Iraq in 2004. I am also a policy advisor for the COPD Foundation as a burn pit veteran. I get to advocate on Capitol Hill for burn pit and toxic inhalation. And I also work with the Global Lung Consortium on the pulmonary, obstructive pulmonary diseases. And I am happy to be here.
And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Houston. I'm under Todd and also under District 4. And I've been in the behavioral health field for over 25 years. I am a disabled person, technically dealing under substance use disorder in my field, and also behavioral health, dealing with mental health and a substance use disorder. And I'm here just to look in the field of people with disabled infirmities and so on and so forth, where I can have my expertise that has been discriminated against, so on and so forth, where I can be used to help our county of San Diego and District 4. Thank you.
Hi, I am Michelle Krug, also appointed in District 4 by Supervisor Monica Montgomery-Stepp. I'm an activist in my community of Southeast San Diego. I've been for over 50 years. And I am blind and have some mobility issues. But it doesn't stop me from doing stuff. Thanks.
Then our executive staff for the county.
I'm Todd Hood, and I'm staff liaison.
I'm Katie McKnight, and I'm here to support the committee.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Katie.
Katie with her new baby. Glad to have everyone here. And so
We also have, if you want to recognize the folks that are online.
we do. Anyone online want to introduce themselves real quick?
Hi, I'm Phyllis Blank Breeley, and I've been to a few of the meetings and I'm here as a disabled person and interested in maybe um, applying for a seat when that's possible.
And then Sergeant Bonanno is the representative from the Sheriff's Department that will be conducting the active shooter training presentation in closed session. And then we also have the housing team that will be presenting, and they can introduce themselves at the time that they present.
Oh, we're glad to have everybody here. Wow, look at that. You guys are all like this one. Thanks everybody for being here. We're gonna go on to agenda item number 2, which is our statement of just cause and or consideration of a request to participate remotely. Emergency circumstance, if applicable. Do we have any emergency?
No requests.
No request, thank you. Agenda item number 3, we are gonna vote on our meeting minutes that everybody have, except for probably yourself, maybe you didn't receive that, I'm not sure. The email for May meeting? Yeah, no worries. Any questions, comments, concerns about the May meeting minutes?
Oh. I actually, sorry. That was the meeting that I was not informed about the change, and, Katie did review the minutes. Thank you, Katie. I am so glad to have you back. And, so I would like a notation in the minutes. It just says, I forgot exactly what it said about basically just that I wasn't there. But I think it needs to notate that I was not informed about the change until literally like 2 or 3 hours before the meeting. So I think that needs to be in the minutes, because that, as you know, I make heroic effort to make sure I can plan around the time.
I think we can note that when I called you that morning, and I didn't realize we hadn't gotten the information over to you, but we'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
No worries. Any other questions, comments, concerns about the meeting minutes for May? If I have none, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from May.
With the changes. With the addition.
With the changes as noted.
And I second. Second, thank you, Michelle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those all opposed? Any abstains? All right, thank you very much. It passed. Agenda item number 4 is our non-agenda comment. This is where members of the public may address a county issue not elsewhere on this agenda. Each speaker may take up to 2 minutes. The speakers may be limited to less time if several speakers have requested to speak on the same issue. The Committee for Persons with Disabilities is prohibited by the Brown Act from acting on or voting on any issue that is not already on the agenda unless deemed to be urgent. We have any non-agenda public comments. I see Phyllis.
Yeah, I know you guys were discussing making housing a priority for people with disabilities this next year, and you know, my concern about, and I'm all for that. My only concern is that in my own situation, and I know it's happening elsewhere, is that they, like in permanent supportive housing, the wraparound services are non-existent, and we're supposed to have wraparound services so that we can have our needs taken care of. It's extremely important for recovery. And I know in my own situation here at the link, it's just not happening. We have a lot of problems over here. So, and in terms of maybe home health care too, that people are getting their in-home supportive services that they need, and that they'd be followed up with on a regular basis, because I just don't see that happening either. So I just want to make sure that, along with prioritizing housing for people with disabilities, that they're services are there for them. That's all.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody else? No other non-agenda comments? Outstanding, thank you. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 5, which is our fantastic housing program accessibility team that has joined us. So please introduce yourself, and if you want to introduce your team, or the floor is yours.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tina Ruby. I work in the county's Housing and Community Development Services Department. I'm joined here by other county team members, Nicholas McIntyre, Jasmine Guillaume, and Amy McCarty, Nguyen, and Gabriela Seda. So there will be a handful of us presenting in different areas, and then we'll be available for any questions at that end of the presentation.
Just very quickly, there are 2 of us that are vision impaired, and so if you would mind just taking that into consideration when referencing the slides, maybe be a little bit more descriptive if you please. Thank you.
Just say what's on the slide.
No problem.
Thank you, Jessica.
We're good? Okay, perfect. Well, good afternoon. I hope that the goal of this presentation is that you're able to gain a bit of a better understanding of how the housing department is set up within the county. We have 3 main core groups, and we'll go over those, and then we'll go over the functions of those 3 core groups within the county's housing department. So on this slide here, you'll see an organizational chart of the county. So the county has 4 main business groups: the public safety group, the land use and environment group, finance and general government group, and the health and human services agency. Housing and community development services is one department within the health and human services agency of the county. As of December 2024, the Office of Homeless Solutions, or OHS, has been integrated into housing and community development services. This transition has enabled the county to better coordinate its housing and homelessness efforts, including homelessness prevention, pathways to stable housing, and equitable access to vital resources and programs. Before the integration of OHS, the teams worked collaboratively on initiatives including the county's framework to ending homelessness, the Homelessness Solutions and Prevention Action Plan, and the Housing Blueprint. Now as one team, HCDS and OHS can continue to make an impact for the residents we serve throughout the county. Next slide, please. HCDS advances the county's Health and Human Services Agency mission by coordinating efforts to address homelessness, improve quality of life in low-income neighborhoods, and provide pathways to affordable housing to assist vulnerable populations achieve stability and self-sufficiency. We do this by providing services and resources to people at risk of and are experiencing homelessness, create affordable and permanent supportive housing through innovative housing initiatives, provide housing resources for vulnerable populations, and enhance neighborhoods through community development projects. HCDS also serves as the housing authority of the County of San Diego. Next slide, please. Back one.
Coming back.
What does that stand for, HCBS?
Housing and Community Development Service. The Office of Homeless Solution offers services that focus on countywide coordination and collaboration across the homeless continuum of care. The Office of Homeless Solution has 2 branches: direct service, which is our boots on the ground staff that lead our outreach in the unincorporated county, and partners across all city jurisdictions to assist those who are at risk of or experiencing homelessness with trauma-informed and person-centered direct services. The second branch is the Program Development and Strategic Planning branch, and they're responsible for programming, securing funding grants, and strategic planning under the county's framework for ending homelessness. The Community Development Team provides financing as a lender to affordable housing developers to acquire, build, and or preserve affordable multifamily housing units and permanent supportive housing. They also support low and moderate income home buyers and homeowners and provide funding for community projects and public service. The rental assistant team supports households primarily through our Section 8 voucher program. As the housing authority of the County of San Diego, we also administer specialized rental assistance programs for targeted populations such as veterans, emancipated foster youth, persons with HIV or AIDS, and homeless households. Examples of these voucher programs are the project-based voucher or PBV program, where the assistance is tied to a designated unit, the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing or VASH voucher program, which provides supports to qualified veterans, and the Family Unification Program. The Housing Authority also owns and operates 4 public housing sites in Chula Vista and 1 farm worker housing site in San Marcos. I'll now pass the presentation over to Vanna to talk more about the work as the Housing Authority.
Thank you, Tina. So on the screen, you'll see a map of the area that the jurisdiction for the Housing Authority of the County of San Diego. It includes the unincorporated areas of the county and 13 cities, including Coronado, Del Mar, Imperial Beach, Lemon Grove, Poway, Solana Beach, Chula Vista, El Cajon, Escondido, Oasis, San Marcos, Santee, and Vista. Other public housing authorities that serve the County of San Diego are San Diego County, or San Diego Housing Commission, Oceanside Housing Authority, Carlsbad Housing Authority, Encinitas Housing Authority, which includes the city of Cardiff, and the Community Development Commission of National City. On the next slide, we will discuss housing authority programs. Section 8, also known as the Housing Choice Voucher Program, was established and authorized under Section 8 of the U.S. Housing Act of 1937. This is the largest program operated by our housing authority. Housing choice vouchers are vouchers given to qualified households to be used in the private market and helps them afford housing. The housing authority supports over 1,000 households every month. The program plays a factor in preventing homelessness, promoting self-sufficiency, and providing safe, affordable, and decent housing opportunities for low-income and vulnerable populations. Additionally, these programs contribute over $18 million each month to the local economy through housing assistance payments to over 4,000 partnering members. Slide, please. The Housing Authority recognizes that housing accessibility needs are complex, and providing housing that meets individuals' specific needs is crucial for long-term self-sufficiency and success. The Housing Authority programs that help meet these needs of persons with disabilities include the Main Street Voucher Program that provides housing assistance to non-elderly persons with disabilities and their families. The program currently assists 142 households. 189 project-based vouchers across 10 developments specifically serving households with disabilities, and 121 public housing units. 11 are set aside as accessible units, and 59 units are for elderly and/or disabled households. Next slide, please. Disabled Section 8 participants have the right to request a reasonable accommodations to meet specific housing needs. A reasonable accommodation is a change, exception, adjustment, or to a rule, policy, practice, or service that allows the equal opportunity for a person with disabilities to access housing. To request a reasonable accommodation, the household must submit a request either orally or in writing to the Housing Authority. That request is then submitted to the Reasonable Accommodation Committee. This committee reviews all requests that come to the Housing Authority. For fiscal year 24-25, 258 reasonable accommodation requests were approved. And the most common reasonable accommodations granted by the Housing Authority are an extra bedroom, boarding aid, or higher rates. The Housing Authority also provides all essential forms and notices in English and 2 required threshold languages for Spanish and Arabic. Staff are trained to identify when interpretation services are needed and provided assistance upon request from participants. I will now pass the presentation to Nick, who will provide an overview of our affordable housing efforts and community programs.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So in the previous few slides, we have focused specifically on programs that were deployed by the Housing Authority. And in the following few slides, we're going to discuss sort of the rest of the programs from HCDS staff. Affordable housing are units that are legally required to remain affordable for a designated number of years through a deed restriction. The deed restriction will include requirements such as maximum income limits and outline the tenant population for the restricted units. The deed restriction will include, the county programs and initiatives that produce deed restricted affordable housing include county surplus properties, HCBS funding from federal, state, and local sources, density bonus units, and special programs directed by the Board of Supervisors. Since 2017, the county has invested over $327 million for the creation and preservation of 72 developments in 36 communities throughout the region. These efforts will not only enhance the quality of life for nearly 50,000 households over the span of the affordability period, but will also have positive economic impacts, such as the creation of employment for San Diegans. In total, the county's regional affordable housing impact since 2017 includes $327 million invested, 11 excess county sites reimagined, 5,970 permanent affordable housing units created or preserved, 72 developments in 36 communities. The 72 developments are all 100% affordable, serving extremely low, very low, and low income households. These developments are a testament to the county's commitment to creating regional partnerships with local cities, service providers, and affordable housing developers throughout the region. On this slide, you will see 3 different developments. The first one is Villa de Vida in Poway. And Villa de Vida has 51 bedroom and 4 2-bedroom units for persons with developmental disabilities, and it's within a supportive housing community. Pacifica at Playa del Sol includes 12 units for adults with disabilities within the 42-unit development, which is in South County. And finally, the Mount Etna campus, which is in Claremont Mesa, will provide a total of 440 units for low-income families and adults. Once all the buildings are completed, the campus will include 58 units for families with a household member with a disability.
Where is it?
Claremont Mesa.
How many?
It will include a total of 58 units that will be set aside for families with a household member with a disability. And only one building of 4 buildings is currently developed for them. The next slide. So HCDS is also responsible for the administration of 4 federal entitlement programs, all with specific purposes and service areas. The first of these federal entitlement programs is the Community Development Block Grant Program, or it's called CDBG. You'll hear quite often. This program works to support low-income individuals or communities by addressing local housing and community development needs. One allowable use of CDBG funding is for the removal of architectural barriers. In recent years, CDBG funding has gone towards projects such as the installation of the ADA push buttons and investments in sidewalk improvements such as curb cuts to make them more accessible to all community members. The next of the 4 federal entitlement programs is our Emergency Solutions Grant Program, or ESG program. The ESG program provides direct services to persons experiencing homelessness or are at risk of homelessness. The third federal entitlement program is our Home Investment Partnership Program, or HOME program. And this primarily funds developments of affordable housing. It provides funding for the county's down payment and closing cost assistance program, and provides rental assistance to lower income households. And then lastly, the 4th entitlement program is the Housing Opportunities for Persons with HIV or AIDS, or the HOPWA program. And this program provides housing and services to persons living with HIV or AIDS and their families throughout all of San Diego County. I do want to call out one specific program, and you'll see this here. This is the home repair program. The county actually uses CDBG funds to administer this home repair program within the unincorporated area of the county, as well as 6 participating cities. The primary focus of this program is to create more accessible housing for seniors and persons with disabilities to allow them to live independently and age in place. The home repair program helps property owners complete essential health and safety home repairs. Eligible properties must be owner occupied. Single family homeowners can receive a low interest deferred payment loan of up to $25,000. And owners of eligible mobile homes can receive a non-repayable grant of up to $20,000. Since 2020, the home repair program has provided just over $2.7 million of assistance to 196 households. Accessibility improvements include replacing bathtubs with handicap accessible showers, accessibility ramps, and other ADA modifications. It is essential to note that this program has an extensive wait list, and to be honest, the wait list can be several years long. I will now pass it back to Tina to close us out.
Our mission and work are primarily funded through various federal and state programs. As such, the department must maintain compliance with all federal and state regulations. The list provided here on this slide is not exhaustive, but rather a selection of the federal and state regulations that the department must follow. A large portion of our funding comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. I would like to especially mention the Section 504 program of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. The Section 504 program protects the rights of qualified individuals with a disability and requires that no qualified individual with a disability in the United States shall solely by reason of his or her disability be excluded from the participation in being denied benefits of or subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance from HUD. Next slide, please. We have covered federal programs that the county's Housing and Community Development Service Department oversees. Homeless services, Section 8, public housing, affordable housing, home repair, and some of the federal funding required. Thank you for your time today, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'll start off. I just have about 2 or 3 questions for you, and I'm sure everybody else has more than that. Some of your programs, for example, your mainstream voucher program, assists non-elderly persons. When it says non-elderly persons, is there a reason that it's non-elderly?
That's the way the program was developed. When it was first developed, was for non-elderly disabled individuals.
Okay.
I don't know specifically why HUD, created the program specifically with those individuals in mind, but that's how that program was developed initially.
Makes sense. That's kind of what I was thinking. When you have your Lebanon senior cottages located in Kearney Mesa, do you have Lebanon veterans cottages located anywhere, or because this is the largest community of veterans and military, is there in the foreseeable future, or is there ones that we don't know about, cottages that are like these specific to the veteran space?
I don't believe that there's a project that is exactly similar to that project there. The project featured there was a partnership with Lakeland Housing and Development, San Diego Kind, and the county land. And that's how that property was developed specifically for seniors. We do have many of our projects that reserve units for veterans through the VASH program and through other programs serving veterans. So we can get you information on how many veterans units and where they're located throughout the region.
That would be awesome. And then the last thing I want to ask is that for the home repair program, somebody had nailed it on the head that the wait list is years.
Correct.
It really is. But my question is, why is there no grants to homeowners, but there's grants to mobile homeowners? Is there going to be an exception that you guys would take a look at down the road?
To be honest, because of owning of the property itself and the land, so we separate it based on owning the land. Most mobile homes actually pay space rent, and they don't actually own that land itself. So it's just sort of how the program is designed. It is a county program, so options are always out there, but it has been sort of like this since the initial intent years ago.
Yeah, I got a lot of feedback I live in East County, in rural East County, and a lot of feedback is, especially for the veteran space, which is what I speak on behalf of, is that it would be great if these grants were available, because a low interest home loan is great, but economic times are what they are, and it would be interesting to have a grant considered to the veteran space, that they could, as homeowners, be able to look into. Because the only two grants available really for home repair inside of the VA is, you have to have a loss of a limb, or you have to have a very specific respiratory disease. And that leaves out, as you can imagine, a whole host of veterans in that space. So hopefully one day you guys will feed that back to your pipeline
I
and
mean, it is a deferred payment of up to 30 years. And most of the time, it ends up happening is at the sale of the property. That's when the money comes back. So most people actually don't make payments on their home repair loans that they receive, because it's really not due back until either the sale of property, they don't live in it, or 30 years, which is a long amount of time. So there's a lot of nuances there that means that they don't really have to pay right now, or even provide monthly or yearly payments.
interesting. Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure everybody else then.
I think we have numbers
So,
for
so,
you.
so just, yeah, to provide you information. So currently we have 15, HUD VASH project-based voucher units in, developments. And so the one's in Escondido, one's in El Cajon, and one is in Vista. And then we have, 78 more that we've awarded out to developments. And so we're just waiting for those developments to be built. And so that those will be, Chula Vista, La Mesa, National City, Carlsbad, Escondido, and Chula Vista. So kind of a mix of throughout the county of San Diego, where we'll have units and vouchers specifically available to veterans through the HUD VASH program.
And that's amazing. And consider, in your talks down the line, there's 4,400 veterans in the 4 square mile block just of Lakeside. So this covers a lot of North County and South County, but the rural East County is really where these programs would really flourish. So just a little bug in the ear for your down the road conversations.
I thank you all so very much on rich information and details, of course, of crazy stuff. For disabled, there was reference to for disabled in the different parts of the housing stuff. And of course, that's a broad brush, all the different kinds of disabilities. So I'm wondering if you use the ADA definition of disability, or is it specific to a type, or how is that done?
So it's typically guided by the funding sources that are provided to build the housing.
Okay,
So yes, our development partners are responsible for complying with ADA accessibility requirements. Many of our partners that do supportive housing do integrate adaptability features so that they can accommodate a wide variety of needs.
yeah,
So we do work with partners that do those things there.
yeah, because a lot of the mobility stuff is a real stickler in housing. And as you know, and so if you build that in, it's cheaper, you don't gotta retrofit.
Yeah.
You don't have to retrofit.
They do that with like the grades, of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
slopes
Yeah,
and the access. Yeah.
Grab bars
Yep.
and, or studs behind the wall, so you can put those in really well and they stay fixed. Those kind of things are critical. The federal programs, I'm, groaning. Have you lost money? Are you losing money? word on,
Be determined.
it's still open.
So
Has there been a reduction in receiving compensation?
What do you mean specifically?
Well, when you had like about 5 different programs under UNRWA and
So those are HUD entitlement programs. At this time, in this next fiscal year, they are level funded to the current. We
Okay.
don't really have much information past that.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah, Laura Hansel here to follow up, Sue, on what you were saying, actually. So I had the same question about building accessible units. So it looked like under this 121 units on the slide, programs for persons with disabilities, 11 of them were accessible. So that's about 9%. And so I'm really curious
With housing.
what that means, it's accessible, and why the number's so low.
So the public housing buildings that were referenced on that slide, the 121 units, were built in the 80s. So they're existing buildings. They have recently gone through some renovations and repairs and upgrades. So they were built to code at that time, and we continue to work with residents and meet them where they're at with their needs through planning for future improvements.
Thank you for the clarification. And then when it is a new building or new units being built, how is that decided then? How many are going to be accessible?
It's really guided by the funding sources, right? So all of our partners are subject to like California building codes, ADA codes. They have to have, all of their permits in the jurisdictions that they're building. And then federal funding, 504 requires a certain percentage of units to be available for visual, persons with visual impairment, and then persons with mobility impairment. So depending on what is being built, all of those things are accommodated in new buildings from the start of the projects.
I do want to be clear, just for the record, anybody listening, that a lot of those programs are being discussed at the national level. And of course, funding is being discussed, being cut, and that would impact us here.
Michelle, you want to go?
Yeah. I, here, I have several questions. One is that you mentioned 3 projects. One of them, all you said was South Bay, but I'd like to know specifically where it is. I think it was gentleman else.
Oh.
Yep.
I guess so.
That was,
Was it
yeah.
fire still?
Yeah, Pacific Playa del Sol is in Mesa. Let me get the exact community for you.
And would that be in the city of
It's in
Chula Vista?
City of San Diego.
Okay.
So the community is probably more commonly known as Pedro.
Is what, San Isidro?
Yeah, but the community planning area is Otay Mesa within the city of San Diego. It's
Okay.
near San Isidro.
There is an Otra Mesa. I just wanted to know where exactly. And of the 72 partners, how many of those, and I'd like to know what the deed restrictions specifically are in terms of years. So obviously, in the past, 55 years was what was common. But of your 72, can you tell me how many are, whatever, 15 years, 20?
I don't have the exact breakdown by years, but all of them are a minimum of 55 years. Some of them go up to 99 years. It just is based on the funding requirements.
But it is a minimum of
It's a
55.
minimum,
That's
all of our
great.
programs today that the county is funding for affordable housing is a minimum of 55 years, affordability.
Because that has been coming down, so I appreciate that. The last thing I was gonna comment on is about the living in place. So if there's a way of marrying any county money that is going into affordable housing and making them universal design, as Susan was referring to, that would, or at least, as she said, like having the studs in so that add and grab bars is not a big deal. But if that could be a requirement, if they're using county money, that would certainly help for us expanding the opportunities for people living, aging in place.
Yes, I can't speak to other municipalities, but the county of San Diego's permitting authority is the unincorporated area. And our planning and development services department has been doing some community engagement around implementing universal design. features and what that looks like. So the county's planning department has been doing some evaluation of implementing that through any building that is happening in the county's permitting authority.
So it would be a potential requirement as opposed to, when you say community engagement, that just means I can buy it from them. Like, is there any talk of making it a requirement that they would have to create it as universal design?
I can follow up with the committee to get the exact information. I just know that there have been discussions around that for the county's permitting authority.
And that's great, thank you.
It would be really nice for us to know, because we would love to support that effort. And support, encourage, nudge, whatever the appropriate word is. It's been a long time coming. And we are a senior tsunami, as you know, in California. And disability is the largest type of disability as you age. So anything we can do to support your efforts from our angle, we would love to partner and know about that with you.
Sure, we'll make sure we follow up with some of the county's efforts on those types of things. I
Yeah,
believe there's something that they're also looking at regarding
Thank you.
housing for seniors as well.
thank you.
And based off of what Sue just said, and something I had mentioned to your whole group earlier, is that what is the gap that we can help you with? This is all fantastic information, but what do you need? What do you need the voice of? What do you need the help of? What is the thing that you come to a group like ours and say, wow, we have such a diverse set of disabilities, if you'd like to call them. What info do you need or want from a group like this that can help you?
I mean, I think advocacy is always great. Advocacy on funding, right? There's never enough money for all of the programs. There's always more of a need than there is resources. So I think any advocacy around funding, streamlining, to help things speed up processes instead of create extra processes and steps is always helpful. And just continued education and outreach, all of those things, little by little with all of those things, more programs come online or housing becomes available faster.
Jessica deferred her time to me, I think she had something to say.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to speak, because I might be a little long-winded. So I definitely want to echo my fellow committee members in you guys leaning into us for any way that we can help, and especially in the area that I'm about to address today, which is pretty much entirely around reasonable accommodations and reasonable modifications. I've had a very blessed opportunity as I've been healing to be a source that people who have communication, neurological, and vision and mobility disabilities, but specifically communication and executive task functioning disabilities. There's an almost direct overlay between homelessness and disability. Approximately 95% of people experiencing homeless have a disability, or if not having one going into being homeless, develop one very quickly due to the devastating effects of being homelessness. People with disabilities can be the hardest to house because of different accessibility needs. And they are also, or we are also most likely to lose our housing. And so a big concern I have is the county housing authority taking pride and being committed to voucher retention. And I'm very concerned that the reasonable modification process is not interactive. It's kind of a one request, it's either granted or not, and then moved on, rather than something that is an ongoing process with somebody overseeing. I know that case managers for these vouchers are exquisitely overwhelmed with high caseloads. And that does not allow them to be trained in or be able to facilitate the duty of an ADA coordinator. I just learned about the committee recently after moving through some complaints with somebody whose life I've been involved with since she became neurologically and mobility injured while being homeless and went through a county contracted program, Equus Housing Works. She was with them for a year and a half, moved from hotel to hotel every month. The hotel stays were not very dignified. They were very isolating. The contractors that were chosen to assist her did not follow ADA accommodations either. And so due to her speech impairment, rather than having a caseworker who was familiar with learning how to communicate with her, they would send somebody different every time to the hotel. And if that person didn't understand what she was trying to say or her inability to speak, they would call a 5150 hold-in on her. And she was extremely neurologically injured through inappropriate medication. And luckily is in a healing process from that. But I tried many times with her and her assigned caseworker to get those contracted agencies to understand and comply with her ADA needs, and they were unwilling. Even at times, they called Adult Protective Services to have me assessed for whether or not I was a good influence in retaliation. So, and then once she was housed, and this is just one example, but this is something that I hear very often. So I'm just going to broaden this to things that have been brought to my attention over the last few years. There are county contractors that are brought in after a person is housed by the county with a voucher, such as Alpha Project. I have witnessed Alpha Project show up once, order some furniture, boxes show up from Amazon outside that the person can't possibly do anything with because they can't handle it themselves. And those workers have never shown back up again, oftentimes because they have difficulty retaining workforce. And so there's not an assigned worker that's consistently stays with that person. And then when the new person shows up, they're also not informed of the person's ADA reasonable modification needs because once again, there is not a file with an ADA coordinator who is working in an ADA interactive process. And then furthermore, regardless of individuals putting in their initial, when you first get a voucher, there's an opportunity to make a request for reasonable accommodation. If somebody has the request for a second bedroom for a live-in aid or for medical equipment, those seem to be where the county thrives in a single request that they then get doctor approval for and can either approve or deny, most often approving. It seems to work very well. But the challenge is when somebody has ongoing needs, especially around deadlines or they have care needs and the county is relying on other contractors or in-home supportive services to make sure the person is staying safe in home and having their needs met so they can stay in their housing. And that's where a lot of the difficulties fall through. But also just in terms of reaching out to caseworkers and their supervisors in order to address when reasonable modifications are not being followed through on, like during annual recertification or inspections. There are people who have mobility issues who can't make it to the mailbox. IHSS does not have a workforce, so although people get approved, very many do not end up with caregivers. And then, like I said before, the county contracted organizations that are there to help with housing retention. There's not a lot of checking in with the client to make sure, and I'm not sure checking in even with the agency to make sure that there is consistent communication, follow-up visits and support. But without that, it puts it basically back on the county to make sure that when a deadline is due, rather than just sending something in the mail and assuming that the person's going to receive it and that they're going to have the ability to get to the bank, to get through bank statements, that they're going to have the ability to be able to see what's on the form and fill it out, that they're going to have the ability to respond in email to an ombudsman or somebody else because the ombudsman phone number is not typically readily available. And then calling the caseworker repeatedly, and then calling the supervisor to elevate it, and then begging John at the front desk to elevate it, and basically having no return calls for years. I mean, those are situations that are absolutely devastating to the community. And I know it's not intentional. It's, you know, everybody's doing their best. Nobody wants to hurt somebody who's aging or disabled in their home. But it's a very large voucher program. It takes a lot of accounting and a lot of paperwork. And we just don't have that position for the ADA interactive process. So specifically, when I saw that the most common request for ADA modification was an extra bedroom, I think that's because the communications for different types of accommodations for speech, for neurodivergence, for neuro injury, for vision impairment, for mobility impairment, for whatever it is that is an ongoing situation, especially based around deadlines and care needs. I think that those are falling oftentimes on deaf ears and are just not reported in the system. So I know I'm very happy, and I can pretty much ensure that everyone here at this table having a different disability or types of disabilities, we would really like to help you guys execute a more robust and interactive, consistent form of ADA reasonable accommodations, and really take pride in voucher retention to ensure that people with disabilities, once they're housed, stay housed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for the presentation. I heard a few different things. And you went back to, my name is Paul, by the way, Paul Nation, District 4. We went back to, said resources and finances. It sounds like a lot of different times for people with disabilities, that the percentage was low in a lot of the units. I'm familiar with the Levant cottages. How many disability, each person with disability units are in the Levant cottages?
There's 127 total cottages.
Correct.
I'm
They're
not,
nice, by the way.
yeah, I'm not sure, I would have to get the exact number of what was
Okay, no
included. Those ones also may be adaptable, and so I'm not certain if the property is entirely adaptable.
Okay, and then I want to go back to the beginning of the presentation. It was started with the homeless process. And I understand what the other community partners and, everybody put in resources, and that it's a partnership process, and that's good. But it started kind of like with the homeless population and people who are able and capable, we can just stick with them and then get them into the units, that's fine. But when we started with the homeless population and we said boots on the ground, I kind of, could you elaborate on that? And then you said community projects. What do we mean by that when we say those things?
So the Office of Homeless Solutions, as part of Housing and Community Development Services, has kind of two branches. The boots on the ground are people that are, they're county staff, they're out in the riverbeds and in the canyons, engaging with folks who are residing in those places, connecting with them, trying to connect them to resources available for them. So the boots on the ground are people that are connecting with folks who are homeless.
They used to, BERT, I think they're called something new. There's another abbreviation to them now, right?
PERT still exists.
Was it-
That's what-
That's
No,
different.
that's what the. police-
Yeah, PERT's with the,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, it's
right.
I believe
Psych-
police
psychiatric-
officer and psychic
Right, right.
That's
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking, these are in my field, that's what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so PERT, like MCRT, I believe is the one in
Psychiatric
North
emergency
County.
response teams, per.
Yeah, and then there's a version of that in North County.
And
as
then you
well.
said, trauma informed.
So, staff typically take, training around trauma, being trauma informed, based on their roles.
That's good. And then programming, what programming part do you guys?
Yeah, so the programming team specifically for the Office of Homeless Solutions, so they oversee requests for grant funding through the state and the federal government. They coordinate all of our reports for our board requests of the various departments and outcomes. They track the outcomes from homeless framework. So the programming team is more, I guess I would equate it to like an administrative branch versus like a direct services.
Okay. Well, when you said program, I was thinking for the homeless, to get them in type of program to get them suitable for housing. That's where I went with that. That's why I wanted to clarify when you said program. when we talk about homeless, to get them to even get to the housing part, it's kind of like skipped over to get them ready for housing.
Yeah, so we can look into getting some additional information for the committee about the steps that our teams are taking in this
Right,
process.
and especially, people that are disabled, there's a big step for getting them with disabled services that are homeless. And getting them help in those areas, mental health. And I just want to kind of bring that to light too as well, when we're talking about homeless and disabled, that's like a twofold process going on.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
And can you also find out how many you have like boots on the ground?
Staff? How many staff we have here? We'll add that to the list of follow-up items and can get that to the committee. We'll coordinate your talk.
That's good. All right, and anybody online have a question? Good to go. Thank you very much to your team. We appreciate it. We look forward to working with you, all of us. We are here to help fill those gaps and so anytime that you'd like to come back and present, if you have, again, we're looking for the gaps that we can do some research on, and you are part, not you, but this topic is part of our strategic goal for this year. So we are very happy that you're here and happy to help you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Right, we are going to, with that, we are going to skip over agenda item number 6, which was our active shooter presentation. That's going to be moved at 4:30 for feasibility. We're going to move on to agenda item number 7, which is our annual report on accessibility from Mr. Todd.
So I wanted to, thank you so much. Wanted to briefly give an update on the annual report on accessibility. It is, we've submitted it for Chief Administrative Officer review, so that's been completed and now it's under review, being circulated. But I will just briefly go over some of the sort of the structure of the annual report. Let me see if I can find it here. So we have a cover memo, which will be, it basically speaks to the different elements that are part of the accessibility, the county's accessibility programs. So it gives background on the fact that back in 2022, the Board of Supervisors directed the Chief Administrative Officer to issue an annual report on accessibility, and that's what we provide. We give some background on accessibility in the county, physical, and then programmatic facilities as well. We have policies and procedures, board policies, as well as Chief Administrative Officer manual policies. And then we talk about my role, the countywide ADA Title II coordinator, as well as departmental ADA coordinators. We give some background on some awareness activities that we've had over the year, as well as the leadership level. We have the Accessibility Awareness Working Group, which are leaders across the county. And then we also have a reference to the Committee for Persons with Disabilities. This is similar to last year. We give some background. This year, your committee elected a secretary in addition to the chair and vice chair. We also point out the vacancies that exist currently, and as well that you participated in the Live Well Advance in School Summit. And then here is a listing of the different departments and presenters that have met with the county's Committee for Persons with Disabilities, as well as the fact that you have submitted a session proposal for this coming Live Well Advance in School Summit, and we'll hear more about that. And then we also highlight, even though Title II really deals with the accessibility of services, programs, and activities from the public, we also have, and we highlight as part of accessibility annual report, the JAYS program, which is an internship program that is done each year, actually multiple times during the year. We'll have different cohorts. This year, over this past fiscal year, these are the different departments that have had Jay's program interns, and they are in conjunction with the San Diego Regional Center. And then we point out that many departments have had each year, we have a listing of accessibility enhancements that have been made by each department, and that's in attachment A. And this I'll now share attachment A. Let's see here. And, oh, no, that's not attachment A. This is still the memo. Here you go. And this is the listing by department of accessibility enhancements that have been and now point out that these are any enhancements that have made in engaging with the county that has facilitated engaging with the county. It may be language, it may be disability, because we have people with disabilities that speak different languages as well. And so we point out many of the different departments or the different enhancements by department in this listing. So once this has been signed off by the Chief Administrative Officer and then provided to the Board of Supervisors, this will be available for the public. So you'll of course, I'll bring and get you all a copy of both documents.
Can you read some of them now?
It's 150 of them, but yes, okay, so as an example, Homeless Solutions and Equitable Communities have the Bancroft Safe Parking, Housing Disability Advocacy Program. I'll go Housing and Community Development Services, who spoke today, and they have ADA accessibility improvements at Town Center Manor Public Housing. Let's see. HHSA Medical Care Services. They have healthcare outreach and education, assistance with persons with disabilities, public health services. They have cool zones, pilot outreach and education. One big thing that is in process, it hasn't been implemented, but it is in process, is countywide website accessibility. So that is to ensure that our websites are plain language. We're going through and instead of speaking about the county or in the terms of the county, we want to speak in terms of the community. What when someone goes to a website for, I'll use our department for the Office of Ethics and Compliance, instead of just talking about what our what our department does, we really are trying to talk about why you're coming to us and what needs you have and how to get those needs met. So that's being done across the county, and much of that is going to be done in this upcoming fiscal year. But some of that has started now.
That'd be like kind of client centered. That's, see, that, from my world, that's how we.
Thank you. You've got the right words. It is certainly client-centered. Department of Human Resources, we've had neurodivergent training. Every employee has completed some working with people who have neurodivergence, as well as employees that have that are neurodivergent. ADA service animal training for the county library staff. So these are some of the items, Michelle. Department of Parks and Recreation, several different ADA accessibility advancement. Planning and Development Services, ADA compliance review of construction projects. And then, of course, they have website readability, so that's one that they have put in.
When they say like ADA improvements, they don't specify. This is
Well,
what we did on
actually, this is
basketball.
the summary listing,
I
but
see.
when you call our office and you say, hey, I'd like to see more about the digital experience initiative, I can then go into the detail and then provide that. They provide, in order to get on this list, they have to provide to our office details of what enhancements they've had. So this is, just to give you the background, this is what is coming up and what will be presented to your supervisors.
So Todd, this is June. And are we supposed to be working now at the end of June on a new one? Or
So this
25?
is the,
Yeah.
great, thank you. So this is the county's, this is the county's fiscal year 2024-25 annual report. I have gotten all this together, and this is for June 30th, 2025. Now, your committee has an annual report that you pull together, and that has been done for the calendar year. So your committee did an annual report as of the end of the calendar year.
That doesn't make sense, does it?
Um,
Since the entire county is on a July 1 through June 30.
It really was from the timing, instead of waiting until the fiscal year end, your committee determined that you wanted to do an annual report of last year at the end of the fiscal year. So it can be, you can determine what timing you'd like.
Okay, thanks.
That's it for the annual report.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Sorry, you were gonna add?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so Jeanette is not here, but do we have a live well advanced proposal?
We do.
We do, perfect.
And I'm going to present it.
Thank you.
Well,
And I can actually put it up on the, I can put that summary up if you'd like for me to put that up.
people want it, so I'm gonna just read it out loud for everyone, because that's the accommodation, so it's up to.
That's fine. If you want to get closer to the microphone, and then that way the folks online will be able to hear it as well in the recording. Okay.
So
Yes,
I wasn't here last month, but, I would also like to assist with your work on the panel.
okay.
Thank
Well, thank you. It's pretty, um, solid right now, and we don't know if it'll be accepted. But it was the timeline that was tight. So it was Laura and Jeanette and I, the three of us, we met 2 or 3 different times on Zoom, which was helpful, and hammered everything out. All sessions are only 60 minutes long, very short time. You can only have them of 3 panelists and 1 moderator, which we decided to go with, that model. The session title is We're Better Together, a collaboration between the San Diego County Committee for Persons with Disabilities, the District Attorney, and the Sheriff's Department. A session description is the Committee for Persons with Disabilities, the committee, a Board of Supervisors appointed community advisory group exists to assure the self-determination of persons with disabilities. One way the committee accomplishes this is by collaboration with county and community-based organizations and sharing their own lived experiences as subject matter experts. The committee's recent focus has been on improving interactions between law enforcement and people with disabilities. The committee has worked in ongoing collaboration with partners at both the Sheriff's Office and the District Attorney, DA, to help ensure law enforcement is better able to identify and serve individuals with all types of disabilities. People with disabilities are more likely to interact with law enforcement because they are 1, more likely to be victims of crime, and 2, more likely to experience miscommunications and misunderstandings with law enforcement. Despite accounting for only about 20% of the general population, research by the Rudderman Family Foundation reported that people with disabilities are about 30 to 50% more likely to be subjected to use of force and or killed by officers. Most often, people with disabilities report negative interactions as a result of a general lack of understanding of their needs and appropriate accommodations. This collaboration increases access to justice and builds trust between public safety partners and people with disabilities. Learning objectives: increase awareness, promote inclusivity, and demonstrate enhanced awareness tools, and to understand the importance of building partnerships with community leaders. Our 1-sentence pitch is gain knowledge for working with people with disabilities in law enforcement and how collaborations lead to improved equity, inclusion, and outcomes for all. The session deliverable, and this is all their formatting, these were all required. We didn't make this up. Video training from the DA, 13 minutes, and information about their 2018 San Diego County Elder and Dependent Adult Abuse Blueprint, an update with input from the committee, a PSA from the Sheriff's Department, 1 minute, 24 seconds, as well as outreach handouts from the Blue Envelope program. The key topics, and those again were, we had to pick from their list, were criminal justice, equity, and partnership. It's a panel format, 3 panelists, 1 moderator. Yolanda Lugo from the DA's office is going to be 1, or someone from their office, depending on, as the time gets closer, who's best available and suited. Her information. The second one is John Barlow, the panelist from the San Diego County Sheriff's Office. He's a crime prevention specialist. He was selected by his boss. who we worked with. We worked with both the DA's office and the sheriff's office to get things for this application. So in his bio, the third panelist will be someone from the committee that can be decided by us. And I suggested that I be the moderator. I've done it before. And I think that with 3 different people in 60 minutes and enough time to have Q&A from the audience, it's always critical and it's a timing issue. So we don't need that, that's fine, but I'm there to moderate. That's all, not speak.
Is
Yeah.
anybody interested in being a speaker?
I'd like to suggest Jessica.
Okay, anybody else?
She was looking at Paul.
Just the chair, for the committee.
Yeah.
That's all my thoughts are.
I'm gonna suggest Jessica because she has had the most experience of working with the law enforcement. You've been with the committee and before the committee and outside of the committee. So that's why I'm suggesting.
Understood.
And again, we have to be approved first, so we don't want to jump the gun on that just yet. We want to make sure that we actually get approved, so there's no reason to.
Well, the vote, I think we did want to give the committee a chance to determine if this is an activity that the committee approves of and desires to participate in.
Yeah, that's the vote. The vote is for, so I make a motion, because this has already been submitted and we had, to do it that way. And we did discuss that because it was due literally within about 5 days of our last meeting. So we submitted it and it's in there, and now they will let us know, not till August, they indicated, whether or not we are accepted for this. So we may not be accepted. So anyway, my vote is I move to,
have the committee participate.
Well, I have a question for you. If you've
Yeah.
already submitted this, there's almost a mute point of asking the board now if we're okay with that, you know what I mean? Like, because if we do, it's already past, the ball's already out of the bin.
But we wouldn't need to move forward necessarily if we were picked, if the committee had an issue.
We said that.
we can just say no, thank you, we've changed our mind, or the committee's not supporting that.
Well, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We're already in.
Yes,
Well, that was our goal. We thought it was a crucial timeline, and I wanted to do this and thought about this for literally the last year when we shared a table with the Blue Envelope program. The DA came out with that video. I thought it was excellent. I think it's a great partnership. Those 2 entities, when we approached them, said, yay, 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 we're in, this is great. They're very clear that they will be on the panel. And it is a collaborative, it has to be a collaborative project. That's what Live Well does. So it's not about us necessarily, it's about us together with our community partners in this collaboration.
Susan, do you want to restate your motion?
I don't want to do the motion. Can somebody else do it? Please?
Sure. I was just gonna second what.
No,
I would move that this committee move forward with the active participation in the Goodwill event coming up, and specifically in terms of requesting to be part of, to do in the panel.
in a second.
I'll second. Oh, I'm
All
sorry.
right. You guys, second, outstanding. Paul,
You,
you're the
you were
brain.
able to track that,
Katie, if you get all-
Katie?
All right, those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed? Any abstains? Outstanding.
We'll talk about it. When we get accepted, we'll. Have more fun.
Great work, you guys. I appreciated the email, and I had full confidence in you guys, so good job. We are going to move to committee business and the Board of Supervisors update. I will say in the, interest of time, we have about 10 minutes left of our, regular, meeting, and then we will have an additional 30 minutes that will be off camera. So in the interest of time, quick go. ADA.
It's ADA anniversary.
Yes, looking at myself. So if you did or didn't know, I think, is it 25?
26. I believe it is.
26. It is the 26th anniversary.
Oh, no, it's the
No.
35th
Why did you say 26? You know I'm gonna listen to what you say.
on July 26th.
Oh, okay, sorry. On July 26th, the ADA has been, it'll be the
35th.
35th anniversary of ADA. And I am going to be in attendance at the Board of Supervisors meeting, because this is it makes sense. So if anyone else from this board would like to attend the Board of Supervisors meeting, this one in specific in relation to this, that would be fantastic. I will be there myself.
This is a request to whether the committee wants to request a resolution for the ADA anniversary.
So going there, I'm gonna make sure for a proclamation. Isn't that what we said? Proclamation? Yes, proclamation. And so if anyone else wants to be in attendance, I will be there. If you'd like to stand up beside us, that would be fantastic.
So there, a request hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
So the statement is whether the committee, go ahead, Michelle.
so after next week's meetings, the Board of Supervisors is actually on summer recess. There is one exception, but it is a special meeting, which is specifically to approve, I don't know the exact words, the July 1st special election. So I don't know that you can add anything else that isn't specifically, I'm just letting you know, I mean,
That's good, because I don't think we knew that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have a month off in the summer, they always do.
Okay.
So, except we have a special election, and so therefore, that the exception is going to be, and I believe I heard July 22nd. Someone else needs to check the exact date, but I believe there is gonna be one very brief, very special meeting specifically just to, I don't know what the word is, authorize, however the election comes out. So, I think it's a good idea. And I think maybe this is enough time in advance to make, again, I don't know the rules about special meetings. I know in other situations, on a special meeting, you can only deal with the one subject.
Yeah,
So but I think it's a good idea.
yeah. How would we find all that out?
Contacting your supervisor's office or the clerk of the board.
Yeah.
ADA resolution, proclamation.
And do we have to write that, or do they, because when I was at the mayor's office, they would say, can you give us a draft?
Yeah,
Right, we have
Yeah,
to
we
read it.
drafted. Yeah.
So,
No question.
because the request is done through your supervisor's office.
yeah,
So, yeah, pretty
We would
much,
have to write.
That
pretty
would
much
be
right.
which time? That we have a very limited time, even if we're allowed to. So we don't know that we're allowed to. So, we can't really table this because we have to have, so maybe what I'll do is I'll reach out to, my board supervisor. If each of you want to, if not, I understand, but I'll reach out to, Joel Anderson and I will ask his staff tomorrow, and then I will let staff know. And then we'll send out an email and do a phone call to those who need a phone call.
Well, do you want to maybe do a vote to see, if it's something that sounds like it's something that everybody wants to do, but
Right, so I'll.
if you can do it, you'll do it or something like
I'll
that?
make a motion that in the event that we find out that, yes, we can in fact add this to the Board of Supervisors,
Special
special
meeting?
meeting, then I make a motion that, we, draft a ADA 35th anniversary, proclamation to be signed at the Board of Supervisors special meeting.
I would like to propose a substitute motion, which is that we do it. We lose nothing by creating that resolution. If it cannot come before the July meeting,
We can go to the next one.
it can go to the next one, exactly.
Is it almost on a retroactive? I mean.
It'll be
it
August
quasi-
20, I believe the next one is August 26th.
Right, but it, yeah.
But, I mean,
Same thing.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that as the committee, we couldn't create it
Yeah.
and post it and whatever else. I mean, there isn't, it's not controversial.
Yeah. So
So-
we'll
And
go,
I was going to throw in one more thing, I'm not suggesting it because I think it's too much, but the potential could be if we did draft something, potentially it could be added to next week's agenda. I'm not suggesting it, I'm just giving you all the parameters that it could be.
any input from anyone else?
What do they do with proclamations? Do they say it out loud at a meeting?
They do.
And they bring you up and
Yeah.
ask you to speak,
And if,
give you the
big
plaque.
thing,
I find it's a good piece of advocacy to reference later too.
yeah.
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 What did you say, Laura?
Just that it's a nice piece of advocacy to use later, just to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I like what Michelle said, I think we should move forward and I like that you can, as chair, go to your, Joe Anderson and try to see.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna all,
Now, if her supervisor says, no, we can't do it. Maybe one of the other supervisors.
Yeah, I'll go to Monica.
so it's whoever's gets back
Okay.
first. It makes
I'm
sense.
new, I
right?
don't wanna do
Yeah.
it. Nothing,
Don't
jump in the
vote.
water
Yeah.
that quick.
I don't know that you both need to ask.
I don't wanna offend anyone that we, it's still like, maybe you ask first and then Michelle.
Yeah, then you let Michelle know that he said.
Michelle, does that sound good to go in order, just because I don't wanna ask multiple supervisors and then.
Oh, I'm fine either way, but I am gonna say it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
That more than one supervisor will present something. It's not uncommon,
Yeah.
so that's only like a positive, because again, this is not a controversial.
Yeah.
request.
So I belay my last motion and I will, substitute to, Michelle's motion, and can I get a second on the
Second.
motion as stated?
Do we have the motion, could you state the motion and see what?
Can I read it to make sure? A motion was made and seconded.
No,
No.
not seconded yet.
Yeah, Paul seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
A motion was made and seconded to draft a proclamation honoring the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act and request the Board of Supervisors present it at a future board meeting.
Perfect.
Yeah, that works.
That's even.
That's you.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, any abstains? I have it. Thank you very much. Okay, in the interest of time and noting that we have our speaker here, I am going to, yeah.
Vice Chair.
Well, I'm gonna do just real quick, there will be no votes, but if anybody wants to put their hat in for vice chair, anybody, time, Jessica.
I would like to nominate Laura. I would like to nominate Laura.
Laura.
Yeah, I'm a second here.
Laura.
Second and third.
Laura.
Fourth and seventh?
Okay, fourth, Laura. All right. Okay.
That's actually all we need for a vote.
We can actually push to a vote, I would think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, for the,
Everybody's voice.
For the vice chair.
All right, so let's do a vote.
It wasn't,
Jessica,
it wasn't
or,
listed as a vote.
the nominations is what is, agendized.
Right, but can we not, once it's been, if we have 4 people, a majority, or 5 or whatever, can we not just do the vote?
Well, you can do the vote next month. I mean, it's not,
Is there anything that precludes us from doing it right now?
the fact that it says nominations for vice chair.
like, we can't go out of the space. Okay, well, that leaves it that in next month.
Did
if
we get,
anybody else
did we get
needs-
nominations? Who-
We did.
Oh.
Laura.
Laura.
More?
We're listening.
No, I wasn't. I was-
And that was our vice chair, she turned out. She's turned out. So, no stress, but I will say that this, next month, I will ask the same thing. So if anybody has changed their mind and they wanna jump on board, we're gonna do it one more time, so don't feel like you're locked in there, but yeah, okay, great.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate.
No worries. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to unfortunately have to table our agenda item number 10. Hold on one second, you two. Agenda item number 10, and I will adjourn this recorded part of our meeting. Thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate you, and have a great day.
Thank you. So our aptitude presentation is offline?
It is.